Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard. We are live in downtown Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Big program lined up today. Heavy Thursday night football. A lot of Major League Baseball. Phenomenal guests as always. Paul Charchian, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer, coming up in 30 minutes. Steve Wiss has been absolutely on fire with the soccer bets. He joins the program in an hour. Bob Condotta, who covers the Seahawks, in 90 minutes. And Christopher Mad Dog Russo is going to be spitting mad in 2 hours regarding some of these free falls that we've had in Major League Baseball. How you feeling today?
Okay, great. Another good night. It's wild what's going on here. The Tigers, Guardians, can't get enough of it. Does anyone want the final wild card in the American or National League? All three teams lost in the NL. The Astros get shut out.
I don't want to overreact. I tweeted this out last night as well. It was the best single day, most dramatic, most exciting, all things considered, everything on the line, that Major League Baseball's had since the finale in 2011.
Was that a Wednesday?
It was the middle of the week when they ended that, yeah.
Interesting.
And a bunch of us were at a sports bar out here watching the games. The collapses, the comebacks, everything that happened with the playoff lives on the line for the Braves, the Red Sox, all that stuff with the Yankees that happened back then. It was a magical night. I will never forget it. And it's actually widely known as maybe the best night ever for the regular season of Major League Baseball. I think last night was right there with it. And we'll dive into this a little bit more, but again, this collapse by the Tigers and how the odds for the American League MVP were changing with every at-bat by Aaron Judge and then Cal Raleigh. Phenomenal stuff. And we have a big game tonight in Thursday Night Football as well, as the Arizona Cardinals are hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Now, on the look-ahead line, Pauly, and we try to talk about those, we do actually throughout the season on a weekly basis. Arizona was a 2.5-point favorite a week ago. 2.5-point favorite. And here you go now. Seattle is a 1.5-point favorite, and at some spots, including here at Circa, now the Seahawks are laying 2 in this game. Total is 43.5. So at Circa, at Westgate, and other books that are showing 2, that is now a 4.5-point move. And throughout history, that is not exactly done well. If you go back since 2008, when there has been a 4.5 plus or a 4-point move like we are seeing in this game, teams are below 500 at about 44% in covering the number, and that would be Arizona. So the steam like this indicates that over time, the right move here has been on Seattle.
Well, they beat them 7 in a row. I think Seattle's good. Their defense is for real. You can have your questions about Darnold. They're 2-1, should be 3-0, and they haven't had the running game going as well. And then you could also argue it's a phony 2-1 with Arizona and the issues they have with the pass defense, which we've talked about, while we like, at least I do, Darnold over and JSN over, because they faced Rattler, Bryce Young, and Mac Jones in their bottom 3 in pass defense. And then on top of that, you lose Connor as well. And then you just don't. What do you do with Marvin Harrison? I mean, does Murray even look at him now? Can he even trust him after what's happened? He's been a bust. He can't catch a cold. And certainly the defense was stout in that performance. But you make one key play, you catch one ball here, you win the game, and you're going to be 3-0. And that was a tough loss as the Niners drive down the field and kick the game-winning field goal. So, at home, usually a pretty good home team. But I am shocked by nothing but the Seattle love here.
Don't you kind of like the under in the game, too, 43.5?
You do?
Oh, Arizona has done nothing to impress me on offense, and I just think I'm not a big Kyler Murray guy, unfortunately, because I have him in one of my biggest fantasy leagues in a 2-quarterback league, and he just doesn't produce as enough as he should on a weekly basis. But you're right. I mean, he hasn't gotten it going like ever with Marvin Harrison. That's a major concern.
Right.
They also have injuries at the wide receiver spot, multiple injuries on the offensive line, which this dude I think is going to be running for his life tonight, going up against a really good defensive line, a super solid defense at almost every level for the Seahawks, and a really good defensive-minded head coach as well in Mike McDonald. So I think they're going to have, plus there is no, unfortunately, James Conner out for the year, horrible injury for him. So you lose, your main guy in the backfield. I think Benson can be okay, but overall you have that and a team playing at home that probably won't allow, unless it's a complete bloodbath and the Seahawks put up like 35 on their own. This game to me is like 21-17 in that range. 20-16. I think it's
interesting.
I know that
All
a lot
right.
of people are making the case for overs in this game, and it's tough not to with JSN.
Yep.
Hell, he opened up 70.5 at BetMGM. He's up to, I think, 85.5 at some spots.
Yeah. DraftKings 80 yards is $1.30 now, just to have 80 plus. I know.
But Darnold's been great.
But and JSN, I don't think you slow this down, what he's doing with the targets and how impressive he's been. I really like Torrey Horton, too. Horton. You think
Horton. I like him. I played him over 23.5.
Did you? Okay, good.
A little bit,
I think he can do something as well. And then without Zay Jones, I know the Guru was making the case on the website about Dortch getting some more time.
Well, he's the only guy that you can look at, right?
Yeah.
Because I really don't want. I would only look at unders with Marvin Harrison.
You want some Wilson? That's tied into Harrison, though, where I'm going with Wilson.
Yeah, okay. Because Dortch is so low, I bet him over 15.5 with that. That could be 2 catches.
Yeah.
But now his receptions prop is juiced to the gills, like over 1.5, as high as $2 on that. But I think, again, because Wilson's number is also very low.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it could be a combination of Wilson and Dortch today if the Cardinals are going to be doing anything in this game. Because the focus here on the defense through the air is going to have to be McBride.
It should be.
Right?
Yes.
Don't let him kill you if you're Seattle. Don't allow him to have like a 10 for 130 in a touchdown game, and that's how you lose the game. I don't know what to say about Marvin Harrison. I really don't. The guy has been a major disappointment.
Well, that's being kind.
I don't want to call him a flop at this point because it's too early in my opinion, but oh my God, did I have high expectations on him.
Yeah.
And he is not even coming close to matching those.
No, absolutely. Can Seattle get the running game going? Charbonnet's going to go, but he's compromised. And then what can Walker do? And again, the Guru, read all his props at VSiN.com. He's making the case for Walker receiving yards over, as Darnold's going to find him a couple times, and that's relatively low. But that's listen, if you get that rushing game going with the passing attack, and what this has looked like with a solid defense, again, they're one play away from, either way. The Darnold fumble, driving to win it, or the deflection caught by the third-string tight end, you'd be 3-0 here.
Easily could be 3-0.
But you get the running game going, and it seems that the offense is real, and still, Cup with a little bit left in the tank. Could be a good team. Could be a playoff team again, and a team that won 10 games last year and somehow was owned Arizona, as I said, 7 in a row. Did you see? I threw a lot at you, sorry. Did you see what they did at Caesars now? Both teams to make a 35-yard field goal.
Oh, they bumped it up now.
Chop around with that one. How about that move?
Wow, so they have really tinkered since week 2.
Yeah.
Because they were only offering, I think, like 1 or 2 teams last week, and then they pulled everything down. And they evidently reassessed here, and now forget 33, it's up to 35.
Yeah, last year, primetime games, longest field goal usually was 48.5 yards. Circa and others have gone to 52.5.
Well,
and then now we're seeing both teams 35-yard field goal.
I don't blame them for moving the longest field goal at all. Right, with how good these kickers are. Did you know that Sam Darnold, as of right now, is the number 1 graded quarterback at Pro Football Focus?
Come on.
I know, number 1.
Oh, boy.
Does that scare you off a little bit?
A little bit.
Like you're supposed to,
coming,
if you're going to be betting on this guy and, he's going to go to war now on a Thursday night on the road.
Come on. It's a perfect storm. Did the Vikings make a mistake? All the timing, right? What are they doing?
Sure.
McCarthy can't get on the field. Why didn't they run it back? All that. Seattle's off to a hot start. It feels like I'm seeing ghost horrible performance is coming, right?
Well, how about this now again? On the Arizona side of things and players who are banged up, you mentioned Zay Jones. And here's maybe another reason to like JSN is that Will Johnson, who was off to a great start, the cornerback out of Michigan for Arizona, he's doubtful for the game. But then beyond that, questionable, you have Kelvin Beachum, Evan Brown, Will Hernandez, and Paris Johnson. Those are 4 offensive linemen. 2 of them are starters. And so Paris Johnson's PFF grade is 70.5. Run blocking is 87.7. Like, that's really good. That's the pass block. The run block is 57.4. Beachum, not great at all. Brown, serviceable with the pass blocking, but that's about it. I think this is a spot where you're going to want to look for guys like Byron Murphy on the Seattle defensive line. He has a PFF grade of 78.6, 12 pressures, 3 sacks on the year. Jaron Reed, Leonard Williams as well, 9 pressures. Williams has 2 sacks. Reed has 1. Remember, Pauly, you can bet over a quarter of a sack on these players at DraftKings. Again, if they get to a half a sack, that's a winner, and that's the beauty of it. So you don't have to go over a half a sack to win. And if they get a half a sack, and Kyler Murray, obviously very mobile, but I think there's an angle here where that, because of the guys banged up on the Arizona offensive line, that front is going to get pressure on Murray a lot and probably pressure him, and that also is going to result in some sacks. And you can get plus money on like individual players to have over a quarter sack.
Do you tinker with other stuff?
I really want to get involved with the sacks. I know JVT was doing a lot of stuff with individual tackles, which you can find at a lot of books.
Okay. Can you ladder that stuff? This kid from Seattle, Job, had 11 tackles last game.
Maybe at like Bet 365 you can.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's something I never really looked at. Sacks, yes, but not.
Right.
I haven't, gone a deep dive into tackles and can you ladder all that stuff and what does that look like?
All tickets cash the same, right? If you got an edge, you got an angle on it, then
right.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, right? Yeah. I put the kicking article up again today. It doesn't matter. They all cash the same. Yep.
Aubrey's 145 to have 2 field goals this week.
Wow.
It's down from 175 last week, right?
They're thinking they're not moving the ball. Yeah. We're rolling here and save 40% on our football season special. Follow the money promo code FTM. Pro access everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl. The Meat Man's coming up, a 9-0-1 run. The leaderboard of the top experts, the betting splits, the videos, the breakdowns, the Mackinnon betting systems, and the prop analyzer as well. Lock it in, 40% off today. Promo code FTM, VSiN.com/subscribe. VSiN.com/subscribe. Could you believe? Out of time.
You going to save it?
Yeah.
All right. Win some, lose some coming up next. We'll update the MLB scoreboard, division numbers, yes, no playoff odds. This is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Great action. Most runs, Phillies, 10-1. Home run derby in Philadelphia. Highest scoring game, Cubs-Mets, 22-1. Mariners get it done. I told you it'd be quite the atmosphere. It'd be rocking. Like Metallica in Russia in 1991. YouTube it. First division title since 2001. Incredible. Up for grabs. Game was over early. And how about Cal Raleigh? Oh, that ball was destroyed. That first home run. Boom.
Place was rocking like Limp Bizkit, Woodstock, 1999.
No.
YouTube it. TikTok.
Oh, come on. Guardians $1.20 up to $1.55. Ice cream. Let me give you this. I can't believe this. If they hold Detroit to 2 earned runs or fewer tonight, they would tie the record. They've done it 19 games in a row. The 1917 White Sox have the record. Starting pitchers have allowed 2 or fewer runs in 19 straight games for the Guardians. Come on.
Are you aware of this? On August 25th, this is from Zach Mizell on X.
Okay.
Fangraphs gave the Guardians a 0.0 chance to win the Central. On September 10th, Fangraphs gave them a 0.1 chance. September 10th. What is it? 2 weeks ago?
That's outrageous.
That's unreal.
Even if I have some shot at Megan Thee Stallion, you got to give me 1%. You can't go.
Nah, Guardians had a better chance.
Come on. I can dance. First time someone other than Detroit has sole possession of first place in 153 days.
Wow.
Yankees 360.
Sorry, one more thing. I got a great tweet on this from a guy who has the Tigers to win the division.
Oh, no.
He said this last night as they got beat. It's like I left the window open in my car and a $10,000 ticket just went flying out.
Yeah, well said.
That's exactly what it is.
Because you fell asleep, but you never thought it would happen. They were up 11 games 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yankees 360 up to 420, no problem. And the Nats plus 170. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. I'll put you right on. It's that easy. Like this one. Our friend Nicole. This is Fort Worth. Nicole's friend rescued a squirrel. And now the squirrel is part of the family and hangs out with the dogs. Look, here's the squirrel hanging on the dog's head and just traveling around getting a free ride. They rescued the squirrel. He's part of the family, and he's hanging out with the dogs and just hanging out. You got the one where he makes confetti all day, too? You got the other one? The picture? That's great.
This is going to end like Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, right. That's, oh, yeah, up the tree. Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't think I can let a squirrel in the house.
No?
How are you going to train them?
Huh?
How are you going to be okay? Can you trust a squirrel? I think not.
Well, I'll find out. All good questions. I'll get to the bottom of it. Here it is there. They look confetti. There he is, hanging out, biting the paper, having some fun. Maybe he's well behaved. And maybe he's used to everything and just hangs out with the dogs all day, right? Could be. How about another one? A listener sent this in. This is his wife or sister? I think it's his sister. She runs a doggy daycare in Virginia. And here she is, making the stops and picking up the dogs every day. And the guy good boy, gets right on, open the door. There's his buddies. We got a beagle over there. We got a lab. What do we got? Is that a husky? Everyone barking? Look at that. Everyone's got their assigned seats hanging out. Let's go. That's unbelievable, huh? That's awesome.
I'd like to do that in my spare time.
Yeah, sure. And how about Kenneth? A viewer who had never hit a royal flush. He hit 3 in 2 days and 2 on the same machine. He's got the receipts. Look at that. Are they all? Did he hold 3 on all of them?
I believe so.
Wow. 1,000, 1,000, and 2,000. A great run. To go from never doing it.
Sure.
And then it happens 3 times in 2 days. Pirates lose some. It's the first time in history a pitcher has had a sub-2 ERA and 200-plus strikeouts, and he doesn't have a winning record. And you know who that is because of the bullpen shenanigans yesterday. That's Paul Skeens. That's never happened before. What an embarrassment.
I gotta Google Roger Clemens now.
He finishes the season 10-10.
Clemens never had 200 innings that one year with Houston, but his numbers were absolutely insane.
Yeah. Detroit has lost 20 of 27. Second worst record in that span. The Rockies only have 6 wins. Bad beats every night. Dodgers, Diamondbacks under 8.5. This Dodger bullpen, you better have Sasaki and Kershaw ready. 4-1 in the 8th. They blow it, but somehow win in 11. They got out of a bases-loaded jam. Killer loss for the Diamondbacks. Pirates and under. The total was 7. Skeens was brilliant. 2-0 in the 8th. 2-1 in the 9th. They blow it. And it goes over. And then the Rays, 5-2 to this just happened. 5-2 in the 8th. They lost 6-5. Come on. So bad. Do you have anything there? I'll look for it in a second. Sharp Play's already there. Before the line moves, they don't just follow the market, they help move it. You're not going to outsmart billion-dollar books or full-time sharps on your own. Backed by advanced AI, plugged into trusted insider sources. Sharp Plays delivers the edge serious bettors use every day. Free reports, alerts, market-moving insights straight to your inbox or X-feed. Jeff and the crew been at it since 2011, and with Follow the Money since day one. He's back with the Mr. Poison updates, documented results, public logs, transparent receipts, sharpplays.com. Trusted by the pros, watched by the books. Get there now. Sharpplays.com.
Looks like Clemens was 13-8 with 211 innings back in 2005 with a 1.87 ERA. Here's how the year started with him. Didn't
have the strikeouts. Okay. Did I misspeak? Okay. Finished the season with 200 strikeouts and a sub-2 ERA.
Sub-2 ERA?
Yeah, not have a winning record. First guy to do it, yep.
Yep. Okay, so this is how Clemens, it began for him, and this is why I remember panicking, and like everybody was like losing their crap with Houston's offense. He in 3 of his first 4 starts that year, he went 7 innings, allowed 0 earned runs, and Houston lost all 3 of those games 1-0. That's Randy Johnson had those kind of stretches as well. So Randy's old team, Seattle, again last night to get a job in the division. Are they a bet against today? Because that's a team that was getting after it last night.
Yeah, I don't care. Look who they're playing. You could be starting today. You'd be $1.80. The kid that Colorado's throwing, and it's one of the worst teams in MLB history. They still need to buy.
They were going to go woo.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so
but they still can wrap up the buy rather. And get the 2 seed, which they're going to get anyways. But I would, why not? The guy should be okay.
This must be said about the American League MVP. And last night, again, because this is part of the reason why the night was so good in baseball last night. Judge hit 2. When he hit the second one, He was, I think, minus 285. No, Cal Raleigh was plus 285 to win the award at that point.
Okay.
Judge was like flying away with the award. Then Raleigh comes in, puts that one like in the triple decker job last night. Okay, then his odds came all the way down to like minus 110, minus one, whatever it was in that range. Then he hits the second one later in the game, and he ballooned all the way up to like minus 220. This stuff was like teeter-tottering back and forth, ping-ponging the entire game.
Okay.
But if you have grabbed Raleigh at any point at a nice number and you stand to win a lot of money at this point or a nice chunk of money, I think today, with right now Aaron Judge being plus 180, I think that you have to take a little bit back unless you're comfortable with award voters.
I totally agree.
And I'm not.
There's a lot can still happen. And who knows? How about what Vasgersian said last week? I know people have already made up their mind. That's asinine.
Of course it is.
And what DeRosa said, if he gets to 60, it's over. Well, what if he hits 62 now?
What if he hits 3 more to set the all-time American League record?
There you go. But what if he finishes with 60, Judge keeps hitting bombs, and the Yankees get the 1 seed?
That's exactly right. So if the Yankees win the division and they get the 1 seed, and you have a nice ticket on Cal Raleigh to win the American League MVP, I think there's absolutely a scenario where you're not going to cash that ticket on Dumper. Uh-huh. And you probably, for a little bit of insurance here to feel a little bit better about yourself, even if you lose it on Judge, you don't know how it's going to go with the awards. You never know that. And there has been a big here's my one question for the New York people who just won't stop pushing towards Judge, and it makes you want to vomit. If things were flipped, right, and Aaron Judge was having the season that Cal Raleigh is having and vice versa, who would you be making the case for to win the MVP? It wouldn't matter. They'd still say the guy in New York.
Yeah.
The East Coast and the New York bias, like, absolutely is a thing, and they are not putting enough. Trust me, I've read a lot of this stuff in the takes. They don't even care about Cal Raleigh basically playing catcher at a Gold Glove level. So if you can't factor that in, then I'm sorry, you're not even part of the discussion.
That's crazy.
Of course it is.
That's the whole argument, what he's doing. Reds just beat the Pirates 2-1, and the Dodgers lead the Diamondbacks 4-0. What was this? You ever see this before?
No, not really.
The Diamondbacks go to the Dodgers and say, we're scratching Gallen? We're going to throw him tomorrow, and we're going to go bullpen?
They openly told them that last night.
Yeah. Which, okay, so now the Padres aren't going to play anybody. They'll be eliminated. The Dodgers will clinch the division. Well, not eliminated, but the Dodgers clinch the division, rather. But then you still need these games. You still have a chance. You're a game back.
Of course.
I don't get it. It's so bizarre. And it's 4-0.
Imagine if they win that game last night in extras.
Yeah. I can't.
Charch is up next. Jackson Dart, quarterback now for the Giants. What should we expect from him and fellow rookie Cam Scatteraboo?
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
A lot to get into with the first guest today on the program as we head out now to the progressive guest line. Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian makes his weekly appearance now with us live on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. GuillotineLeagues.com is the website. We will get into tonight's game, player props for it, coming up in the next segment. He's going to hang around for 2 full segments. Charch, good to see you again today, pal. How are you?
Yeah, great to be back. Tonight's game sounded pretty boring going in. Seattle, Arizona. But it turns out there's all these great storylines around this game. And, some of it is unfortunate because James Conner's out, but we've got a lot of great stuff to talk about. Like, is Marvin Harrison, are we talking about one of the epic busts of all time right now? There's a lot of great stuff in tonight's game that I think storyline-wise, you never maybe would have guessed even a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, well said. I can't wait to get your answers on those questions and more. Let's begin here in New York. The football Giants taking on the Chargers this week. LA off to a great start. Giants 0-3 yet again. Feels like they start 0-3 every single year. So now they named rookie quarterback Jackson Dart the guy this week. What do you want to do with him overall? And then the same thing applies here with his rookie backfield mate in Cam Scatteraboo. Is this a good thing for him or a bad thing now that there's no more Russell Wilson?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think Russell Wilson manufactured a loss last week that 31 other quarterbacks would have managed to win that game. The Chiefs were not, in my mind, were the worst team. But Russell Wilson, just an embarrassing level of non-professionalism. It's chiseling away at his Hall of Fame resume, by the way, with games like that. I mean, I think maybe in his mind, Russell Wilson is adding to the stats that will make his Hall of Fame career. But in the minds of many people, what he did with the Steelers and now that performance last week. So let me ask you two. Russell Wilson, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? Is he B, an eventual Hall of Famer? Or C, do you think he never gets in?
I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. He's never received an MVP vote.
You say out.
Never received not one MVP vote. Mitch made the case comparing him to Eli Manning, which Eli Manning never was a star or a hell of a, big name, but he never put up ridiculous numbers or.
I would think, to me, I would say eventual with Russ, the way people vote on the award, and to compare Eli, like I think Russell Wilson would be a Hall of Famer ahead of Eli, like any day of the week. But again, I don't vote for this stuff, so.
Yeah. Now, Eli had the 2 Super Bowl wins, and I think Super Bowl wins are totally overrated for Hall of Fame. But one of those losses that Russell Wilson could have had is because of his pick, right? I mean, granted, the Seahawks never should have been running the ball in that situation, but the whole reason they didn't win that second Super Bowl was because Russ threw a game-losing interception. So, I mean, that's kind of on him. I'm not even sure Russ is going to be active on Sunday. I haven't heard anybody talk about this yet, but Jameis Winston's on roster. He might be the number 2 quarterback.
He should be.
Imagine shouldn't he be? I mean, how do you trot Russell Wilson back out after what he just gave up on his team? I don't know how you could do that. So let's talk Jackson Dart for a minute. First, we like what we saw in the preseason, 78% completion rate. A lot of it was short passes. I went through all of his preseason passes this week just to look at him again and just, refresh myself. That dude throws an incredibly catchable pass. There is a lot to like about him. Now, in the preseason, it was a lot of short stuff, but he threw long at Ole Miss. Now, when he was there, Lane Kiffin didn't ask him to go through a lot of progressions. I think you're going to see, especially early on, you're going to see Dart with short stuff on his first read. And, that's not going to equal big fantasy points. I don't know that I wouldn't wager against Jackson Dart right now, but don't be surprised if it's a lot of short first read stuff. Now, where Jackson Dart can be special, on the ground, baby. I mean, he's got the upside here. I'm not going to put him in the Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen category, but he's got the big frame, right? He could be a tush-push guy potentially. He should be running copiously designed runs. I mean, if you're Brian Daboll and you're just trying to hang on to your job, you should be using every bullet you've got in your arsenal. And Jackson Dart, every dart you have in your arsenal, and Dart, his rushing can be a real difference maker. So I would absolutely like to see him run the ball often. And if Brian Daboll doesn't use him that way, it's shame on him. He's going to face a good Chargers secondary here. They've dropped the hammer so far in 3 straight quarterbacks, Bo Nix, Geno Smith, and Patrick Mahomes to a great degree. They've given up 35 rushing yards per game to quarterbacks, though. And again, that's where Dart can be special. So I've got Dart as, if you're in a 2-quarterback league, I think you could start Dart here based on the rushing, but not the passing.
Okay, then what about the rookie running backs in this game? His teammate, Scadaboo, but also on the flip side, Najee Harris, now unfortunately for him out for the year. What does that mean for Omarion Hampton, the great rookie here for the Chargers in this game and beyond?
Scadaboo, I think Scadaboo is fascinating. First of all, did you guys see the backflip that he did?
Yeah. Impressive.
How does a guy at his size do a backflip? That's incredible. I mean, it's one thing if you're Tyreek Hill, okay? I expect Tyreek Hill to be able to do a backflip in the end zone. Scadaboo, that was more jaw-dropping than what he did on the field, which was awesome. What a lot of college scouts said, Cam Scadaboo, he looks for contact at in the college level. It's one thing when you're doing that against New Mexico State. It's another thing to do that when you're looking for contact at the pros. Scadaboo looks awesome in the pros. He's breaking tackles all over the place. That kid he's fantastic. He's buried Tyrone Tracy's career. That poor guy's, it's all but over for him. Scadaboo can catch. He runs inside. The only thing Scadaboo can't really do is run laterally, stretch plays and stuff. I don't think he hasn't proven he can do that. Maybe it's going to turn out he can. But what's not to love about that kid? Now, for Hampton, he's going to get the vast majority of the workload now. It goes back to Hassan Haskins after him. Hampton's going to turn into just this massive volume back. Much better game last week than he had any other time. And I'm actually pretty optimistic now. He's another guy where his best stuff is just straight ahead between the guards, maybe the tackles. Don't get him outside of that. But I think Hampton's just in sheer volume is going to be a pretty compelling fantasy guy going forward.
By the way, I found 2 numbers here quickly on Dart. His rushing attempts prop is either 5.5 juiced over or plus money over 6.5. But his rushing yards prop for his first ever game is 35.5.
Wow.
Chargers are allowing 35 per game, and I bet that's how they set this line. Dart's path to victory, if you're the Giants, is on the ground. I would take the over on the 35.
Okay. All right. Vikings won 48-10. Your guy Mason, 2 touchdowns. Wentz looked good. What's the plan now moving forward at quarterback? And now you get Addison back off the suspension.
Addison was the guy who had the most chemistry with J.J. McCarthy in training camp. He probably had the best training camp of any Vikings player, offense or defense. He was amazing. And Addison started last year at its middle, like last third of last season. Addison was balling, and he is rolling into this season. I think he's going to take his game to a different level than he had been to this point. Quarterback position specifically, Wentz wasn't asked to really go out and go win the game with heroics. They didn't have to in this game because the Vikings got ahead early. They still didn't run Mason even as much as I wanted them to, but ultimately did run the ball a lot. And Wentz looked like, but he clearly had the trust of the coaching staff, because when the game was still in doubt through, rough just before half, they were still passing plenty. And I think that's what we're going to continue to see, is ask Carson Wentz just get the ball into the hands of TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, and let them go be good players. And that's all you have to do for Carson Wentz. This team still has a long-term commitment to JJ McCarthy that is very serious. But I'll mention this: in Minnesota, starting to be some talk about whether or not this team should have just let Sam Darnold walk away.
Oh, here we go.
No compensation for Darnold.
Here we go.
They got no compensation for Darnold. Darnold right now is Pro Football Focus's #1 ranked quarterback in the league. He's looked every bit as good as he did last year so far. So there's starting to be some, it's not a big conversation talker yet. But as Darnold continues, and by the way, Darnold's sitting on a good game tonight. But as Darnold continues to look good, that's starting to rear its head here too in Minnesota a little bit.
How about Indiana? They had Indiana Jones on the team too.
I know. The plan was to keep him. They loved him, but Jones correctly, he knew he had to go find a starting job if he wanted to resurrect his career. And look where he finished. Yeah. And God bless Shane Steichen. We were all like, Shane Steichen's to be the first coach fired. Well, it turns out you have to have a functional quarterback, no matter how good of a coach you are. And Shane Steichen is proving that, given functional quarterbacking, that he can be a good coach. Mm-hmm. And credit him. There are a lot of people, including me, that were very concerned about Steichen's ability to just last the season. And right now, he might be the coach of the year right now.
By the way, side note here on that Vikings game again over in Dublin, how do they not put like the kibosh on Aaron Rodgers this weekend? Yeah, I mean, I think the Steelers' offense is in for a world of hurt here.
Agreed. I mean, what Brian Flores just did to the Bengals, they put that whole offense in a blender and a bad offensive line. The Steelers' offense has looked inconsistent to my eyes, and I got to believe the Vikings are sitting in a really good spot. They're getting so much pressure on quarterbacks. They're getting healthy right now. I think the Vikings should win this. I believe the Vikings have never lost in Europe. I think as a team, they are 8-0 all time in Europe games, and they've already beaten the Steelers in Europe as well.
Wow. Okay, I was unaware of that. We'll continue here with Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian, GuillotineLeagues.com coming up next. We will get into this big Thursday night tilt between Seattle and Arizona. Does Jackson Smith and Jigba go off again tonight? Find out Charcher's answer to that question next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Rolling along here, Thursday night football tonight. We have the Cardinals at home against the Seahawks. Seattle, a small favorite now in this game after they open up the dog. And Paul Charchian sticks around here for one more segment. Fantasy Football Hall of Famer, GuillotineLeagues.com, the website. He's on the progressive guest line. Unfortunately, James Conner's out for the year. Feel really bad for that kid after that injury. He's been such a trooper over the years. So how do you want to approach it from a betting standpoint with him no longer in the mix, with Trey Benson now taking over as the lead back for the Cardinals?
Yeah, Benson's going to be a absolute workhorse, and I think they're going to give him a long run today and tonight. He's a good back. He's a power back with some wiggle, some decent speed. He's looked much better this year than he did last year. Benson did. But most importantly, he can catch a little. And Seattle's run defense has been really good, by the way. Just 3.2 yards per carry. No rushing touchdowns allowed. I wouldn't touch Benson's rushing prop except for the fact that he's going to get a lot of carries. And there's going to be a lot of volume here. They're going to want to de-emphasize Kyler Murray as much as they can and Marvin Harrison. Where the betting angle is for Trey Benson is through the air. And I'm very interested in this prop. His over-under receiving yards is 19.5 yards. If you feel like I do, that Seattle is going to get to a big lead, and I do believe they will, the game script is going to be extra passing for Arizona. Benson can catch. He caught 20 balls in his last year at Florida State. This year, he's already caught 8 balls as a backup so far to James Conner. Seattle is where it gets fascinating. They've allowed the second most running back receptions, 22 running back receptions this year, and the most running back receiving yards, 234. That is 78 receiving yards per game to the running back position. The over-under here on Trey Benson's receiving yards is 19.5, and he's going to get almost all of them. DeMercado's might chip in, I don't know, like one catch for 10 yards. 3 different runners against Seattle have already topped this line of 19.5 receiving yards. Now, Alvin Kamara didn't last week, but they barely threw to him. So Benson over 19.5 receiving yards is my preferred prop play tonight.
What do we do with Harrison, and what do you make of his career?
This thing has gotten so ugly. There are a lot of, coming into the season, a lot of people are like, well, just throw out the rookie year. He's going to be way better as a sophomore. It's exactly the same guy that he was last year. And, when he has these dud games in him, which is most of them, by the way, in games in which Marvin Harrison does not score, and he's kind of like out of the game, he finishes as those weeks as fantasy wide receiver 65, averaging 2.5 catches and 36 yards. By the way, his over-under tonight is 50.5 receiving yards. It's not getting better. His last 2 games of the season, he's averaging 2.5 catches and 36 yards. This is like he checks out. Now, he's had drops in consecutive games. Get this, Marvin Harrison has the worst separation rate among all wide receivers or tight ends. You've got lumbering 260-pound tight ends that are getting better separation than Marvin Harrison. Kyler Murray misfiring to him a lot, and we don't know if that's because Harrison's in the wrong spot or if Murray is just missing him. But Seattle has been a good receiver defense, and they get healthier tonight with the return of 2 starters in their secondary. So this is, to me, I would take the under, if anything, on Harrison. I'm not making an official spot on this, but I don't like this, and I think this is going to be a lot more Trey Benson than it is going to be Marvin Harrison here, and I think there's real reason for concern long-term.
I would agree, unfortunately, because I have him in so many fantasy leagues. Yikes. So what about the other former Ohio State Buckeye wide receiver who's off to a great start? Jackson Smith-Njigba, his receiving yards prop opened as low as 70.5. It is now like in the mid-80s.
Yeah, and now I'm out. It's just I think he's sitting on a big game, but the number's just too high.
Yep,
it's just too high. He's number 2 in receiving yards, 108 per game behind only Puka Nacua. He's the 5th most targeted receiver, and that number would probably be even higher if they hadn't hammered the Saints last week and didn't need to throw for the whole second half. Cardinals are going to be shorthanded tonight. They're not going to have their starting cornerback Will Johnson. He's got a groin injury. That puts 5th-round rookie Denzel Burke as their expected replacement. And Njigba against a 5th-round rookie is a smash spot right there. Arizona's allowed the 6th most yards to receivers, and the last 2 number 1 receivers to face Arizona have topped 100 yards. I mean, I know this is all building a case for over, but just the lines move so much, guys. I don't know. And Seattle's can win this thing a lot of different ways. They don't have to go through Njigba. I just think the line's too high for me. Even though I love what he's doing. He should be in the conversation as a tier 2 wide receiver. Not in the Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Jackson Smith-Njigba, though, is in the next tier of guys, and nobody really talking about him that way.
All right. How about guys you want to fade this week? We're talking to Paul Charchian, GuillotineLeagues.com. After David Montgomery's unbelievable performance against Baltimore Monday night, 150 plus, couple touchdowns, right? Looked great doing so. Now the script completely flips. He goes from playing the Baltimore defense on short rest to playing this Cleveland defense that has been lights out. And what caught your eye here with Montgomery?
Yeah, and hit on, by the way, I'll peacock a little bit, hit on Montgomery with Tim Murray about an hour before kickoff.
I heard that.
On Monday night's show. Monty just ran through the Ravens, as you mentioned, but if there's going to be 1 week to show caution on Monty, it's this week. We're going to take the under 46.5 rushing yards. I think there's a lot of recency here from the big game last week. This is the toughest matchup of his year. Cleveland looks like an absolute stopper in defense. 3 weeks so far, they've played 3 excellent running backs, Chase Brown, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, and they're all dominant workhorse backs who get almost all the work on their teams. And they've been under David Montgomery's line, all 3 of them. Again, the line is 46.5 rushing yards. They've been at 43, 23, and 30 yards. And they get all the work. Here's Monty. He in a split backfield where really Gibbs is the alpha, Monty's the beta. I can't ask a secondary back to outperform Brown, Henry, and Jacobs here. Cleveland ranks number 1 in ESPN's run stuff win rate. They rank number 2 in Pro Football Focus's run defense rankings. I don't see Montgomery getting over the 46.5 number.
All right.
Beautiful.
How about Pacheco?
Yep.
Is anything left in the tank there?
He's so cooked. His line here is under 34.5 rushing yards. And again, I think we can work into the recency. We just watched Baltimore get steamrolled. So here comes Pacheco, and people are thinking maybe that's it's going to be the case here too. But I don't think that is going to be the case. We're just 2 games removed from Baltimore holding James Cook to 44 rushing yards and 3.3 yards per carry. And I think Baltimore likely comes back to being decent here. So, it's one thing for the Lions to run on you. The Chiefs have no running game right now. Pacheco's look terrible. It's a split backfield. He can't outperform the undead corpse of Kareem Hunt. They're in an even timeshare on snaps and carries. All season, Pacheco has broken 3 tackles. That's it on the season. He ranks 20th in yards after contact among starting running backs. Kansas City ranks 30th in run block win rate. This is bad. And here's your X factor on Pacheco. Do you guys recall the screen pass that he screwed up last game where he went out to the side to get the screen pass, but he turned the wrong direction?
Oh, yeah.
To Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Mahomes throws where Pacheco should have been, and then Pacheco makes this half-hearted effort to get on the ball that Mahomes had to go get because it was a live ball fumble. That's the stuff that drives coaches insane. And there's a real chance that Andy Reid has had enough of this. We might see Brashard Smith start working his way onto the field because this team has to find somebody that's not going to F up the game plan. And Pacheco has been certifiably, objectively awful. So that's another area to me where I can't trust Pacheco to hit over on his rushing total, even 34.5, as modest as that is, and as bad as Baltimore looked last week.
All right, in about a minute here, I just traded J.K. Dobbins in one of my leagues. I packaged him with Emeka Ibuka, but I got Brock Bowers back, because I needed a tight end and some other. So let me guess, Dobbins this week, 125 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, probably.
Yeah, just in your face, probably, in part because it's also the Bengals right now, and the Bengals have seen the 4th most rushes against, 25 rushes per game, 25 by running backs against them. If J.K. Dobbins, who's been getting the majority of the work, if he gets 2/3 of the 25 rushes that the Bengals are seeing a game against them, that's 17 rushes, and it gets real easy to get to 60 yards on 17 carries. The Bengals run defense is, every part of the Bengals are bad right now. The run defense, 25th in ESPN's run stuff rate. They've allowed the 6th most yards to opposing runners. Dobbins has topped his line 59.5 in all 3 games. And he's going to top it here too, guys. I like the over for Dobbins, 59.5 rushing yards.
Yeah. And he has not looked like an undead corpse at all. He looks great so far. Follow Charchian on X.
Yeah, very spry.
Yep. He's at Paul Charchian, guillotineleagues.com when he joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Great as always, my man. Enjoy the week.
Thank you, friends. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Yep.
NHL season drops October 7th. VSiN has you covered. Jonathan Davis with a great job. As always, our NHL hub at vsin.com/NHL. Team previews, futures, award markets, best season-long bets, new content and features rolling out all season. Everything from contenders to props in one place. Get ready for hockey and opening night at vsin.com/NHL. It's awesome.
The meat man, Steve Wiss. Nobody's hotter than him. 9-0-1 last 2 weeks on the show. Best bets in soccer. He'll run down his best bets for the week next here on VSiN.